G'day guys, and welcome back to another Wednesday night live stream. So good to have the beginners here. I actually see a couple of new people in the stream that I have not. G'day guys.
Have you got that
before
running?
Wednesday
Something's
night
playing in the background.
Oh, okay, here we go. That's better. Sorry guys. Welcome back, and it is so good to see all you here. Sorry about the glitch, but that's a part of the live stream. So it's good to have everyone here. Another Wednesday night, and it's been an interesting week. And tonight's topic is something that you guys have been asking for quite a while. You want a bit of gun content, not just laws and bans and everything. So we are going to give it to you. So tonight we're going to talk about getting into reloading, the beginner's sort of guide to getting into reloading, because some of you guys out there who have been doing it, of course, you know how to do it, but we want to share the things with some of the new people, because there is quite a few new people in this stream, so who haven't been reloading before. So this is all for them as well, and you guys can put your 2 cents worth in and talk about it also and give some tips and tricks. So before we start, please hit that subscribe button. We've got to get these numbers up, and hit the thumbs up. And if you haven't already, text all your mates who shoot and tell them about this channel and get them on watching the live stream. So I shall bring Jason in right now. Good evening, Jason.
What's going on, everyone? Interesting day. We wonder what looks like Daniel Andrews might be in a bit of trouble as of today. We'll see, but it's all probably in jest. So we'll see what happened. But yeah, someone from Labor also crossed the floor about the red shirts scandal into Daniel Andrews and all this stuff going on with the Labor Party in Victoria. So should be quite interesting to see what happens. Some of the typicals didn't vote for it, but, like Fiona Patton, hope she loses her position at the next election, which is coming up, towards November of this year. So, interesting times ahead, holding Andrews accountable. Hopefully this is the thing that's going to sink this bastard, but never say never. But apparently they even had to, I read the article today, they were courting the which you're not going to get, they were courting the votes of Andy Medic from the Animal Justice Party, and not surprisingly Jeff Borman of the Shooters and Fishers. I don't know, there was a vote 19-17 today, so I'm sure people in the comments let me know if they've been following it, whether he voted for or against the investigation into the Labor Party in Victoria. But I'm surprised you would have to court someone that's pro-gun to do an investigation into Daniel Andrews. But hopefully he had some sense to vote for it, because he's, past history, especially on the omnibus bill, was supporting Daniel Andrews, which we can't tolerate on this channel, or any channel, or any pro-gunner should be absolutely be out there making sure Andrews is not re-elected or booted out of Parliament sooner rather than later.
Yeah, so now what is going to happen to our friend on the live stream, Andy123, or what he calls himself? Is he going to change his handle after Andrews gets locked up?
See him.
He is
Andy,
here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 777. You're on borrowed time, Andy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 777.
Yeah, you might have to think up another name. Dan behind bars. Hopefully.
Yeah, well, let's hope. Let's hope he's only going to last a couple of weeks. But, I've got no faith in, these systems and so forth. And, the courts being independent and, voting. You saw it with the Djokovic, kick him out. The court overrules it. Then Alex Hawke says, no, we won't worry about the democracy. I've got the power to kick him out anyway. So, that's how much they take it. And they're supposed to be liberals, man, supposed to be conservative. What a joke, man.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be fantastic if this goes through. I can't wait. So we will be bringing you that. I know it's not gun news, but hey, everyone hates Dan, don't they? Doesn't matter what you do in life. Everyone hates Dan. Apart from communist left wing, soy latte, blue-headed butt muncher. Apart from those people, and they don't watch this anyway. So,
well, Peter says he sees dead man walking politically. Well, we can only hope. We'd really hope that's the case. I mean, how you've got to court any crossbench member? Even Darren Hinch. Voted. even Darren Hedge, and we've got to court pro gunners to get their vote to sink Andrews. Can you believe it? This is unheard of. But knowing my luck, again, I haven't looked at the. I know it's 1917, but I'm sure someone will comment that thankfully he voted for the investigation. So Peter just said Borman voted for the investigation. Well, that's surprising to me, to be brutally honest, because he's been a big supporter of Daniel Andrews in the past.
Yeah, exactly. Before we start, I just want to thank Matt Outdoor Adventures for the super chat for the ammo fund. Well, it's actually going to go towards. I had to buy new camera gear this week because I did break my camera. It smashed it this last week, so everything is going towards getting a new camera so I can make some more videos. And thank you to BD83. They're all planning. Excuse me. They're all planning their exit strategy. Theatre. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. Yep. It's funny how they leave Parliament, isn't it, Jason? And they all of a sudden end up in big, cushy banking jobs and things like that.
Yep. That was Mike Baird, former, he got booted after remember the Greyhound debacle, probably 4 or 5 years ago. The Greyhounds ended up sinking him, but same thing. I'm pretty sure he went into spanking, I think, as well.
Bin Chicken Beralaki, or whatever that creature's name is from down your way.
Beralaki.
What a bit.
Terrible.
Yeah,
not even close to being her name.
She was in the news and getting some high rolling job or something. Yeah. So
there we go. Where is it? I'm just scrolling up. I just saw it. There you go. Andy 1233477. Nah, I'm slipperier than a snot on a banana peel. That you are, good sir, mate. A lot of people have been done for less. I mean, he got done for no mask. Remember, he got done for no mask twice, not once, but twice, while telling everyone else to do it. That's just one of many things he ended up getting away with. But anyway, we'll see. But Matt Cato said butter chicken. Yeah, I do like butter chicken, actually. So.
Yes. And we got our friend Mr. Wonderful. Chairman Dan cancelled the Australia Day Parade and marched in the Gay Pride Parade earlier this week. Tells you everything about him. Yes, it does. It definitely does. Yep. So he's we know where he lies his head, don't we?
Yeah, not with the people of Victoria, that's for sure. We know that. So, I mean, you wouldn't have to ask me, but put it this way, if I was in there and I was the politician representing some party, like on the crossbench, they go, oh, Daniel, yep, approved. Whatever it is, yep, approved. Done. Oh, investigation, yep, sign on the dotted line. Count me in. Yeah,
Griffo, he bounces downstairs better than anyone. Yeah, unfortunately, didn't bounce a few more times.
Yeah, here we go. Just reading. It's a bit hard to read one there. But Peter just sent me a message. Peter, send me the better one. I'm trying to zoom in, but I can't read it because it's too small. So, but there was one lady from the Labor Party that I think she's getting ousted at the next election. She wasn't endorsed. So yeah, I think she's a bit peeved off. So yeah, fair enough. This is what happens when you piss a few people off within your own party and you don't get endorsed for your position again. Well, they roll over on you, don't they? And they support bills or support at least inquiries like Sommurex. So interesting times ahead. But if you don't know about it, read about it. It's all very interesting.
Yeah. And here's JR. Always knew Dan was a pillow biter.
Anyway, let's not go there. We're all inclusive on this one. So,
yeah, you like this one. Biden can't climb upstairs. Andrews can't climb down them. That's a good one. Thank you, exactly. Game Shot.
I'm just trying to read a few comments. I'm just trying to go to this one's. It should be on Twitter. So we'll see. Her name was Korshalia Vagila. Maybe, sorry if I'm getting that wrong, but she was the Labor person. I'm just going to go on there and see if I can find the statement.
Sounds like something I order from the Indian restaurant down the road here.
Yeah, I do like my curries too. Do you guys like curries? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, give me a nice hot vindaloo any time of the day.
Yeah.
Our local Indian shop got closed down because, they found rats running around the food.
Here we go. Well, this is pretty big. Cautiously, here we go. I found it. Statement. She goes, the statement. I was a former staff member for the socialist left faction. You know when they start like that, this is going to be good. So I know all about their branch stacking activities and their electorate offices being used for factional purposes. If branch stacking and factional operatives working in the electorate offices is corrupt, then the socialist left and all the other factions must be investigated. Branch stacking is endemic in the ALP, and I understand it has been for decades. Therefore, what happened at IBAC was a grave injustice because it was discriminatory. The upper house motion gives the ombudsman, ultimately IBAC, the power to expand their terms of reference to include all factions in the Labor Party. I'm a migrant to this country and thought that everyone was equal when it comes to the law. Apparently, some people are more equal than others. Interesting.
Yeah. It's going to be good times. Good times ahead, I think. This could be. Could be the Let's take our mind off the Wu flu before they release the next strain of it, which is coming from what's the word on the street. So it'll be good. So, Jace, time for the roll call before we get into tonight's topic.
Yes. All right, we'll start. Andy's first. Our buddy Daniel Andrews, a.k.a. Andy 1234777. Aaron Johnson, Badger James, BD83, Blunt Machete, Brandon Fairley, Sherry Richardson's back, Cliff Lee, Colin Penfold. Colin's one of our very long-time regulars. Corgie's Bees is back. Haven't seen you for a while, Corgies. Maybe we just missed you. Farmer Dave, Fox 860, Furry, to Game Shot, Griffo 117, Harps 666, Hunting Victoria, Iron Regiment. Not bad. Iron Regiment. He's got with a B like in front of his name for Bagara. So I don't know if that's our old buddy Bagara. I'm not sure. JR, Lone Wolf, Matt Outdoor Adventures, the Guitar Shredder, Matt Cato, Mr. Wonderful, Mr. John Boy 1965, Neil H, Nick Blackwell, and Salty, Peter from the NSC, Rob's Woodworking, Ryan, Salty Skippy, Southern Star Review. You can also check out his channel. He's got some good stuff there on Southern Star Review. Steve Savick, Stu O'Brien, Bushranger Brotherhood of Australia, Probing, a.k.a. different name. Sorry, it's just changing here because everyone's trying to comment to get their names up. Victrix 300, Wilbur, Willie Bob, and Zach M to finish off the roll call. Sorry if you didn't comment. Oh, there's Angel. Angel's there too. I've just scrolled back up. So welcome, Angel. Chris Legendary's popped up as well. So sorry if I've missed anyone. Kat Trundle, another one. Not sure I've read hers or him. But yeah, that's it.
Awesome. So tonight's topic, we are going to be delving. Well, you guys have been asking for this, more gun stuff. Even though it doesn't rate, and Jason and me have this talk probably once a week. Gun stuff doesn't rate, but everyone seems to like doom and gloom. They all want to hear about a gun ban or something like that. Like last week, live stream got almost 4,000 views, and when we talk about gun stuff, we're lucky to get 200-300 views, but that's all right because we got to talk about gun stuff, and we enjoy talking about giving you guys information because you support us. We like to talk about stuff you want to talk about, and the most common thing is talk about getting into reloading. So tonight is it, and we do have one super chat here. We'll get done straight away from Ryan. Got myself a new Dylan 4-stage press 9mm. Haven't started reloading. Can anyone recommend a YouTube channel or guide for a novice? You're just going to have to look around, man. Usually the actual companies who make these have like instruction manuals on YouTube about setting up and using them. I think a lot of companies are going that way now for all sorts of products. They make their own videos about comprehensive at setting them up, getting them out of the box, putting them all together, the actual manufacturers. So have a look at the Dylan's Facebook, might be Facebook or YouTube channel, and that might be a good start. But they are very popular. I'm sure there's masses and masses. But the problem with YouTube is anything to do with reloading, they class that as manufacturing of ammunition, and you can't have that on your channels anymore because you run the high risk of losing a channel. So unfortunately, it is a bit bad, but there's a lot of forums out there that will discuss it. But it's all a learning curve, and this is something we are going to talk about is and the learning curve and should do when you first get it. So, Jason, where did you start with your reloading?
Well, many years ago. Many years ago, when I looked at the price of a box a couple of years later, I think there was some ballistic tips of some kind, maybe Nosler, I think they were. And it was like, there was 250, and I'm sure it was about $40. let's just say they're not $46 anymore for a box of 250. Let's just say that. And I looked at probably one of the most competitive, probably pricing companies in the country just yesterday. I've got every bloody Tom, Dick, and Harry, because I've got like 2,500 rounds of 140 grain matches. And every Tom, Dick, and Harry's trying to get them off me. I'm like, no, go away. I need these things. But you definitely need to buy up. That's one of my first things I want to say. Buy up whenever you can if you get some extra cash, because the prices on ELD matches, for an example, pretty much everything really, it's not dedicated to one specific brand, have gone up quite considerably. I mean, I used to buy, I think, ELDXs 143s for the 260. You know, they're about, 67 to 72. Now they're over $90 now. So for 100 pills. So definitely shooting is not getting any cheaper. So if you ever got some money there, anything up, say, money doesn't go that far these days. You got a quick $5,000, just say, mate, buy up on all your favorite projectiles, buy up on all your powders, buy up on everything, because you're going to need to, because things are getting really, really expensive. But I started many years ago because I was looking for accuracy. I bought a ticker 7mm08, and I was using factory ammo, and it was basically shooting dinner plates. And that wasn't very good. So basically what I did is I just started reloading. I think I did the 120 grain VMAX. That was just brutal on goats, man, out of a 708. It was brilliant. Mate, as soon as literally the first powder load was clover leafing, I go, well, that's it. I'm done. That's it. Yeah. I'm good to go now. I mean, compared to, say, a dinner plate at 100 meters just was unacceptable to me. So that's why I started reloading, man. And, you want to use certain projectiles. You want to be able to seat them where you need to seat them, for better accuracy. You can use different types of ammo. I don't know. There's something very good about reloading too. Like, it's sometimes I love it, sometimes I hate it, but yeah, all round, it's I think it's definitely worth it. But I think years ago there were much more savings to be had in reloading than there probably is now. I think it's still good, but they've started realizing people are reloading and hiked up pretty much the prices of everything. Like, if the kits keeps going, man, a lot of people aren't going to be able to afford to shoot, man. Who can go out, plop off 100 rounds in a day, which is probably not that hard to do, or at least over a week, and that's just cost you $100, not putting in fuel, all that sort of stuff, gear, equipment, food to go on the trip, all that stuff. It's getting really expensive at the moment.
Exactly. And I remember when you brought all that, I thought, oh, that was a bit of an investment, but who's laughing now? You absolutely nailed it by buying all those projectiles. It was, a very good score. And as Matt here said, thank you very much for the donation. Cry once, buy once. Exactly. I remember when Jason brought that, he spent thousands on projectiles, powders, primers. I thought, oh, that's quite a bit of money. And now he's paying it off.
Well, I think I ended up getting them for 53 a box. Now they're 90 a box.
Yeah,
so yeah, now they're pushing. You might as well say basically it's $100 a box, give or take. They're $90-something. If you get into 30 cal, which I've got for the Bergara B14 HMR, I think the 208s are about 97, 98, 98, 95, 97, 95, and the 225s are just on 100. So you base it that just $1 for a projectile. Each time you pull that trigger, you're shooting $1.
Yeah. Well, when I get into the 300, the 220 grain Sierras, I haven't bought them for a while because I did exactly what Jason did. I bought up bulk and for the Sierras 220 grains, 30 cal. I don't know what they are now, but back then they're about, I think I was paying about $400 for 500 projectiles.
Yeah, I used to buy the Sierras thinking they were expensive at about 68 to 72 a box. I'm sure they've gone up equally as much as well, so they're expensive as well. And I know people are starting to look at spear now as an alternative. A lot of people having good results, especially with hunting for spear, but they've gone up too. But again, by the time you get it here, someone brings it in, sells it to a gun shop, you take it on.
So many hands in the pie.
I don't know why the shops that don't straight to them. Straight out the door, cut out the middleman. But then people probably get the shits about that. So the importers probably get the shits. But
who gives a shit? I'd be cutting out.
I'm not interested in it going through another set of hands. You know what I mean?
Dude, I'd be cutting out. If I was a decent sized gun shop, could afford it, I'd just be forgetting about the importers and going straight to the manufacturers and saying, "Hey, I want to buy 20 pallets or 20 containers of this stuff. Here it is. Sell it to me directly.
Yeah.
You can import stuff. I'm pretty sure in Australia, but without going through the middleman. So
Yeah,
that's
just
what I'd
again,
be doing.
the end user will always pay, which is us. So, hence the reason why 53 a box. I bought, I think, 2,500 rounds, and I sold. You couldn't get it. You can't really get them at the moment. So I sold 5 boxes, but pretty much a friend of mine, I gave him a little bit cheaper, but the other person that wanted them too because they wanted to test them. I said, no, you're not getting them. It's full price market retail as of today because all I'm going to do is rebuy them anyway. So my friend, I'm probably going to lose money, but he wants them because he can't get them either. So I only charged him 70 a box, but so I've lost about $40 on that. But anyway, it's not too bad. He's been pretty helpful to me in the past and helped me out a lot of things. So that's only fair. But yeah, and Matt Cato said the 87 grain VMAX, yep, they're pretty good too. They're creeping up too. Used to be able to buy like 500 of them for about $140. I don't know if you still can. They're over that now.
Last time I saw those, I was using those, and they were going over just over 220, 230 bucks a box, or 500. So the zombie rounds are really good. Remember the old zombie rounds?
Yeah,
The green tip ones. They were super accurate and good, and they were flogging them off for next to nothing. You couldn't even keep them on the shelf. But now, I haven't seen those for quite a while.
Well, there you go. Fox 860, Spear 61 per 100 and 6.5 and Hornady $90 per 100. But how did the Spear go? Anyone got any experience with the Spear? I've never had any Spear. I've heard good things, especially for hunting. I mean, again, do you really need a $120 bullet? When a Spear for half the price will do the same job. That's the question you need to ask. If you're just a hunter, I'd just stick with the cheap. If you're shooting 100 meters, different. But I haven't looked at Spear's offerings for a while. Do they offer any long range, match style stuff, and how does it compare? If anyone's got any comments on that, let us know. I'd love to hear your comments on the Spear.
Yeah, and thank you to Bush Ranger for the donation for the camera fund manufacturer in Australia. Well, there is a new brand. It is remember the Outback ammo and the ADI ammo? Well, they've merged or something, and now they're making their own. That was always very good ammo, off the shelf ammo. But tonight's about reloading. So, yeah, it is very expensive for some things, and like they sucker you in. I've just seen a few comments saying, "Oh, the reloading gear is coming down in price a little bit." Yeah, they get you in for the gear, and then you pay for the consumables, all the powders, the projectiles. Yeah, they get you in cheap, sort of like home brewing, really, isn't it? So cheap to set up, but so that's one way of getting you in. So, well, about the sort of gear that you start to use,
Let me just read a couple of these before we do that, because maybe we'll go into benches in a few secs. Southern Star Review said he uses the 55 grade TNT Spear for room mitigation. That definitely worked. Matt Cato said he won't buy Nosler again. He found them inconsistent. But again, that's all going to depend on gun, load, seating depth, a lot of different things. Pig Hunter said Spear 130 grain hollow points in 30 cal great. There you go, another good one for Spear. Matt has been shooting the solid copper Barnes TTSX. Yeah, I've heard they're good, but Jesus, $110 for 50, man. Like, nah, I'll pass on that, man. You obviously got more money than I do, but Spear are good for hunting. Their match bullets are getting better, says JR. So yeah, yep.
Most of the Spear back in the day were top level projectiles. I tried a few out of the 6.5 PRC, and it didn't go so well, but nothing's really going so well out of that gun right now.
Here we go. Yeah, Fox 860, which we'll talk about. We'll get into presses, I think. We'll start off with presses. Fox 860 says I was quoted $2K for reloading gear in 6.5. I reckon you could do it for cheaper than that, man, to be brutally honest. I reckon you can do it for under 1,000.
You can do it for under 500.
If you went cheap, but, for 1,000, I think you're getting decent gear.
Yeah, well, if you're shooting 6.5 for rifle, you wouldn't use. Well, this is what I use. I just use a normal single stage press. Pick your brand. They're pretty much. I don't care what anyone says. They are pretty much the same for the actual press. Dies. The cheaper ones are hit and miss. The more you pay for a die, usually it's good, but the RCBS is quite nice dies.
I use Reading, and I think the
Reading?
best. Yeah, I think I use Reading mostly, but I think as I think with me and Aaron got the same press, I'm pretty sure the RCBS Rock Chucker single stage.
Yeah.
Some people, if you're doing a lot of reloading, again, you need a 4 or 5 stage revolving press. You spin to the one you want. Have at it. But if you're only reloading 4 or 5 times a year, something like that, I just think, again, because you start to forget the process if you're not reloading all the time. You don't forget, but you've got to remember what the process is. So you're best off, again, pulling dies out, setting them up, remembering what to do. Don't just rely on spinning a press around and going for it. So, mate, the RCBS Rock Chucker, probably one of the best. You got ones from Lyman. You got the Lee one as well. Lee make pretty good gear, I think, for new reloaders. Yeah, on a budget. And,
you'll get the starter kits, which is good because you get the actual press you want. Then you'll get stuff that'll get you going. But I use a digital thrower, so there's now $300, and I got you'll see a review on the thrower, and you'll see a review on the actual case trimming. So when you're shooting rifles, pistols, I don't trim the cases at all because I've never had a problem. I shoot thousands upon thousands of pistol rounds a year, and I've never had a problem. I never reload. They blow up in the gun and they just spit them out because the chamber holds them together. Then you just don't reload that one again. But
let me say one thing. Matt said something pretty similar, which I agree with. Matt Abella said, I'm lucky to shoot 30 shots a year, so he wants the best performance. I think he's talking about those Barnes TDSX. And then Matt Cato said, I'm tempted to buy some A-tips for the 300 WSM. I don't care that it's expensive, just want to see what they can do. Again, because ELDXs are getting really expensive, getting up to $100 a box, I'm probably going to be just switching away to and let me know. I'll probably cop a bit of flack for this, I guess, but I've seen the results on all types of platforms like YouTube as well. But I'm probably just going to go all match bullets, especially for my long range rigs that are going to be mainly for target shooting or gong shooting. But I will, if I need to, shoot long range or bunny busting. I'm just going to go to match bullets pretty much, and just run it, whether I'm hunting or whether I'm shooting. I'm just going to run all the same thing. I'm used to it. I know how they load. I know the BCs. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do. I'm not going to worry about, some expanding thing or, because technically I reckon a lot of people say it, the ELD match is basically the old AMAX anyway.
Yep, exactly. And we're talking about the reloading kits. So you get your basic kit. Like, I think the RCBS is probably the best kit to buy out of everything. If you start, this is rifle stuff. We're talking about rifles right now. We'll get into the pistols soon. But for rifles, single stage. I would never load a precision rifle with a progressive press. Never, ever. It's good enough. And people go, I get great groups at 100 meters. Yeah. Okay, well, I shoot my rifles out to a kilometer, 1.5 kilometers. To me, it's not good enough because whenever I use those for pistols, you still see powder lying around it. That powder's got to come from somewhere, doesn't it? It hasn't made it into that actual projectile. So, and he's right. The RCBS 502 and 505, what Tank must have said, are very good scales as well.
Yeah. And don't worry about using balance beams. I think, if you're going, listen, people will say, and I've had mine do it, man. I've had what was one I had? Probably the same one as you. I think it was the Lyman Gen 6 electronic scale. And I think the RCBS 505 or similar. It's basically, one of their high-end scales anyway. And I was reloading on the scale and I was putting it onto the thing going, what's going on here? Something's wrong. This was after about half an hour. Again, with the electronic scales, you got to keep recalibrating them throughout your reloading session. Especially like I was putting them on going, oh, they're supposed to be 55 grains for an example. Oh, it's reading 56, 57 now. Hang on. And I weigh it out again. I go, no, it must be the scales. Well, the balance beam. It wasn't the balance beam. It was the electronic scales. So again, you've got to be careful about how far they drift off. They drift off too much, blowing your face off. So, I mean, obviously there's a lot to make that happen. but double, triple check. Don't double charge your cases accidentally. A lot of the powders these days, you can't really double. Well, some you can, but don't double charge because there's so much powder sort of won't allow to get into the case and it'll just come out the top. But again, I just do one load at a time, one powder charging, seat the bullet, look at the case, make sure again it's not cracked, see how it's seated, and then I put that one's done. I just do one at a time.
Yep, exactly. I charge it up with the Lyman charger, get that in there, then I take that and put that on the balance beam, the RCBS balance beam. I put it on that and tweak that, take it in and out what I need to do and get it smack on there, then put it in the rifle cartridge.
Yeah,
I do that for every single load, every single round. I do that. I just get it up to speed with the electronic, and then I go to the manual balance beam and finish it off there.
Yeah, and you can do that too. Sometimes I've been I can't be bothered to use the electronic, so I just use a powder thrower. I'll measure it up to, say, a couple of grains under or something like that, and then I'll just trickle charge up to the specific charge and then just do it that way. And then I flip over to the reloading press, charge the case. See, this is after you obviously primed it and everything, cleaned it, done all that, resized it and all that, which we'll probably talk about a little bit later. But sorry, guys, excuse me. I'm still coming back from this COVID blood. A very, very interesting thing that a little lady prices. She bought the Arsenal press straight from the United States, but cheaper than buying it here. I mean, it's pretty bad. We actually buy cheaper and ship from the US for a single item and actually get it cheaper here. So a lot of people are going overseas at the moment, unfortunately, for things like projectiles, things like scopes, binoculars, spotting scopes, all that sort of stuff. And again, it sucks that you can't support your Australian guy because you're paying a lot more.
Jason, you're breaking up.
Sorry, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, you're glitching real bad. As soon as you said the COVID word.
Oh, am I back now or no?
No, I can hear your voice breaking up, but you're pretty bad. You're just all frozen in one big pixel.
All right, sorry about that, guys. I'm just trying to get rid of a few things here. So,
it's definitely don't trust anything electric. It's like when the scopes, as I've talked about in the past, never trust a scope fully. That you have to put batteries into it. So anything electronic, you can't go past gravity for the balance beams. That's for sure. Maybe restart your stream, Jace.
All right, yeah. Sorry, I'll come back in. Let me in a sec.
Yep. So so that's exactly what I do for rifles. But preparation of the brass is pretty important, and that's pretty much the most time consuming is the actual prepping of your brass. So first thing I do is I resize and pop the primers, and then I wash them. And I used to use the old powder, the corn cob stuff. Got away from that, and I got on eBay and bought a cheap stainless steel media tumbler, and that was a game changer. I just mix up my recipe with a bit of dishwashing liquid. What else? The dishwashing liquid and a bit of here we go, Jason. Yep, and we'll talk about cleaning brass now. The next step, prepping brass, and then the dishwashing liquid, a bit of citric acid. But I do find the citric acid, I think it has eaten the O-rings out.
Yeah, it absolutely savages your seals, man. So just watch out for it.
I'm going to actually start the next load. I've got to buy some new O-rings, like 100mm O-rings, and get rid of the citric acid. But I leave them in there for 3 hours, and they come out like a mirror.
Yeah, the only way people still use the old cob, which is good. Some people use rice in it too instead of the old cob, just because it's cheaper. But yeah, you can't go past the stainless steel pins. Mine are still going. They don't even rust. I normally just drain off the water, pour them back in, and then I just leave the top of the cylinder cracked open just so it breathes, so it eventually dries out. They're not even rusted. You lose a few here and there, but I mean, honestly, the amount you lose or you actually use in the tub, you've still got some spare. Like I keep them in just like a big container. Sometimes I just pour a little bit extra in every so often, to just add to the ones I've lost, but you rarely lose any. If you've got a good little spinning machine, they just all go into the bottom of the bucket, no problem.
Yeah, yep. And also you can buy another kg or whatever they come in, I can't remember. Pretty cheap off the internet, off eBay to top up anyway. You don't, yeah, just here and there. I leave them there for 3 hours and bang, they work well.
Yeah.
So that's for
Listen,
cleaning.
clean brass is critical. It's only critical to see if you've got any cracks in it, but other than that, it's just to make them look good, really, so we don't have dirty, filthy brass.
Yeah, and also if it's too dirty, like it's got that sort of black tinge to it, it can stiffen up in your guns. It's a bit hard to chamber and then extract the brass once you've fired it. So yeah, I like it clean because one thing I hate is cleaning guns. Absolutely hate it.
Yeah.
Kind of like mowing lawns. Mowing lawns, cleaning guns, something I don't like.
You're a bad man. So yeah, Cliff Lee said ultrasonic cleaner. Then you can tumble. I do use that too sometimes. Lone Wolf says vinegar. Yep, I've heard that too. Works pretty well. Pat West is AKA West Covina Dodge from California said Lemmy Shine. I haven't seen the Lemmy Shine in Australia. If anyone knows where to get it for a good cost, it's I guess it's like the same thing. It's a little like washing liquid, but powdered form or whatever it may be. So you can use that. Apparently that's really good as well in your mixture as well. But don't go overboard with the dishwashing liquid. I tend to go overboard, and I'm rinsing it, frothing up, and then I'm rinsing it for like forever, man.
And drying. JR, my father uses corn cob 20 hours later. Yeah, I agree totally. So once you get out of that, so I've resized, deprimed, washed, then I bought a cheap $40 food dehydration thing, and bang, slap it in that for a couple of hours, and then I leave them to sit overnight after that, and Bob's your uncle. Start priming. And the primer, I don't know if you bought the same one after me, Jason. I brought the priming machine, that bench mounted Lee one. So quick and easy.
Yeah. I've got the hand primer one. So same thing. You just slot them in, you put them in there, slot it in, bang, next one in, bang. I mean, people say, your hand gets sore. Unless you're doing like 9 mil or something, mate, what do you got to do? Do 100 rounds at a time, mate? You do them in about 2 to 3 minutes at best.
You can sit one good thing about those, you can sit in front of the TV.
And, Aaron's right hand is always very strong, guys. So if you know what I mean. So you should have no problem using the hand primer if you get my drift. So
yeah, sicko. But before we go any further, we want to thank the NSC for being tonight's sponsor of the show. They are a fantastic organisation. Well, in my eyes, in Jason's eyes, the only organisation that is doing something to help shooters out. So they are a genuine reason in Victoria, New South Wales, and Queensland to get your rifle license. So if your organisation is not doing anything for you and you've made a complaint and it's fallen on deaf ears, jump over to the NFC, and they, for about the same price, they will become your genuine reason. So they sell great merch like this. Get onto the website, have a look at what they sell and what they do, and sign up to them. They support shooters, and at least you know where your money is going. At least you know your fees are going to fight gun bans and gun laws, and they've overturned, especially in Western Australia, a few gun bans. So everyone in here does know about them, which is fantastic, because I know a lot of you have messaged me and said you have signed up through seeing the NSC on this channel. And at least the big thing for me is you know where your money's going because they got a track record and they bring it all up on their Facebook page and their website about what they have achieved. And as we have said for years now, Jason has said, as long as you give it a go, if you fail, at least you've put the shooter's interests first before anything else, and you've given it a go, even if you don't win. But they've got a very good track record of winning. So
Yeah.
sign up, links in the
Stan,
description.
Stan said, and this is, I don't do this. I'm thinking about it, but I'd probably only go the cheap option because I don't really want to spend. That's annealing. People might ask what annealing is. So when you anneal your brass, you're basically heating it up to a certain temperature. As you shoot it, that brass it stretches out. You trim it. Obviously, it becomes stiffer. So it becomes harder. That's how it eventually cracks on you. And the neck's cracked. There's sometimes the body cracked, which is not that good. The neck's split. So the idea is generally, I mean, the necks will split anyway because you don't tend to do it. You don't tend to kneel the whole lot. But basically what happens is, oh, no, you do. You do them face down. My apologies. It does do the whole thing. So what it does is basically makes the brass more malleable, pliable, whatever. It softens up the brass a little bit. So hopefully you get a lot longer out of your reloads instead of, say, 5 or 10 or 3, you might get 20. So I know some guys have got 30 to 35 with and without annealing. So it really depends on the caliber, how much, how hot you're running your loads. So if you anneal, you normally do them, I presume most guys do them after every shooting session. Then when they're reloading, they anneal them, soften up that brass, keep it pliable. So it, you can get more reloads out of it, especially with brass these days and these inconspicuous calibers, even 260, $100 for a box of 60. That's the last time I checked. That was 3 years ago when I had it. So God knows what they are now.
There's a few brands out there coming up with brass that isn't overly priced. A few brands I don't want to mention here because I know is biting at the bit to sue me, but I wouldn't touch from a very reputable, so-called reputable importer. But I find some of the brass out there. There's one called Jaeger, and from Europe, and their prices last time I looked were pretty damn good. So yeah, annealing, that's a big no for me. I haven't got the time for it. I could probably build one in the workshop, but I just don't have the time for that every single time.
Yeah, here we go. Nick Blackwell says annealing makes neck tension more consistent. Also, yeah, I mean some guys go to neck turning as well. Listen, again, if you got time for it and you're getting good results, stick with what you're doing. But my main concerns are, this is what we don't tell people about loads, is don't overcharge. That's one thing, because blow your head off, and make sure you don't exceed the max length. Because as you shoot brass, it expands and it gets longer. You need to make sure you trim it. Otherwise, again, pressures can get high. I've seen people do all types of reloading, but not trim their brass when it's needed to within that SAMI spec or whatever. And, they've had a few little puffs of smoke coming out of the action. So be careful, guys. And that could have got real serious. And if it blows up, it's going to take your face and your hands off. So don't do that.
Exactly. We're going to talk about what there's always going to say, should have said in the beginning, we're not going to tell you what the grains in our recipes and that, because we don't want you taking that and you have an accident, because every gun's different. Your guns are different to ours, different brands, manufacturers, calibers, and we don't want anything happening to you guys. But it's all about we could probably make a 2-part series about this one because we've only got 15 minutes left. But it's all about testing it, getting it. Once you've done your brass, the biggest thing I find I get questions on beginners is they go get the manual, they read the manual, and load the middle sort of range, but they'll load 500 rounds straight out of the gate because that's a new thing. Hey, everyone's excited about something new, straight out of the gate, and it's shooting like dog shit. I know it's a pain in the ass, but when you get a gun, especially when you're first starting, make a few loads, go and shoot it. Find out what's best, and then make maybe 40 or 50 rounds of that you think is going to work. Just double check, and then when you've done all that, just smash it out after that. Don't go make a ton of rounds in the beginning.
Yeah. There's a couple of things too I want to talk about. If you get time, guys, I might even put them on the page. There's one from I did an interview with him probably last year, I think it was, or the year before, early the year before. Eric Cortina, precision reloading is easy. It's called You Complicate It. That's one of the videos. So Eric Cortina is ErikCortina. Eric Cortina. And then there's an interesting one too. There's part 1, I think, and part 2. Chasing the lands is stupid. Don't do it. That's a very interesting concept. So look at his reloading videos. So like I said, it all depends on what you're going to be doing. If you're hunting, you can get a load, go straight to the range and see how that groups because you're shooting at 100 meters. And if that load groups well, it doesn't really matter at 100 meters what speed each individual bullet is doing because it's shooting well at 100 meters. But if you're going to shoot out to 500, 600 plus, yeah, even probably less than that, that's when that's going to make a huge difference. If you got one bullet going, say, 2,800 feet a second and one doing 2,650 and then one doing 27 and then one doing 29, it's not going to be accurate at long range. You're not going to be able to trust it. The further you go, the worse that'll get. So, again, what he generally does is, I'm not going to go, you can watch the videos, but he'll get his loads, like 4 or 5 of each load, in a certain powder weight. And then what he'll do is he'll go shoot them just into the dirt, not at targets. Now, people are probably going to go, what the hell? But what he's doing is he's checking for consistency on the feet per second of that load. Once he goes, okay, this had really good standard deviation. It's very close together, like let's say 2,800, 2,790, 2,810, all within very close proximity. Then what he'll do is he'll load that particular powder charge, and then he'll go to the range and he'll start working seeding depth of that bullet, right? So you might have 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, and then each one's going to be this far out of the case, this far, this far, this far, from low to high. And then he actually shows you in that YouTube video how to find that to get the most accurate load possible. So normally with the first time, he will just punch them into the dirt with a chronograph. Okay, that charge was shit. That charge was shit. This one was getting better. Oh, this one's awesome. That's the charge. And then he'll show you how to, through the life of that gun, to keep moving that seeding depth to make sure that gun keeps shooting. That's very interesting. So check it out. I think you guys probably one of the better. And you got to watch it 4 or 5 times like I had to, maybe 10 times, just to understand what he's talking about. And then once you see how simple it is, you understand how you can get really good, accurate loads for long-distance shooting.
Yep, definitely. Yep, I've seen those videos. They are fantastic.
And it's totally contrary to, what's out there. People think you can go to the range, shoot a load and go, oh man, fantastic. Then a week later you come back, you shoot that over the chronograph and the speeds are shit. They're not consistent. So it's good for 100 meters if that's what you're after. Don't worry about doing this method. But if you're doing long range or getting out there, do this method. It works.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's definitely a real science, especially in the rifle side of it. You got to just work your way up to it. Don't go bull out of the gate and just load a ton of stuff. Work your way up, test your loads, make sure you're happy with the loads, your gun likes the loads, and then make everything. So just don't just go and punch everything out. Like we could almost make another video just on pistol stuff. With pistol stuff, use a progressive press, find a medium load. To be honest, pistols are, okay, I shoot my 44 Magnum 8-inch barrel. I'm popping off targets at 200 meters, but that's an exception. My Desert Eagle doesn't know anything over 20 meters. It seems to fly everywhere. But 9mm, if you're getting into pistols, I always recommend everyone do get into 9mm first because it's cheap well, not cheap anymore, but it's cheaper to feed. And when you get into pistols, you always reload a lot, and you got to use a progressive press. I load about 10,000 rounds at a time for 9mm, just ammo crates, just dump it all into the ammo crates in one hit. I'll set it up and won't touch it, and I'll go hard out and do about 10,000 rounds, and then that will last me for a few years. So pistol rounds is it to me? Well, I've shot a lot of pistols and I own a lot of pistols. They are not precision stuff for me. So as long as you can hit a target this sort of big at 20 meters, yep, that's good enough for me for pistol shooting.
Yeah. And, there's also, deburring, brass, chamfering you can look up on YouTube. It's, but again, if you're just new to it, start slow, read, make sure you triple check your powder charges, quadruple check them just to make sure, start your process, write your processes down, what you got to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, make sure you follow that process every time. You know, you don't have to trim brass every time. You might have to trim, I don't know, what are you guys seeing in the comments? Let me know. Probably every, say, 3 or 4 reloads, you know, something like that. You know, sometimes depending on how much they're stretching, all that type of stuff. You know, it just, again, it all depends. It sort of changes. Sometimes they, you know, get longer quick, again, depending on what load you're running, what bullet, what powder charge, how hot's it running, a lot of different things. So just start slow. Just do I do one bullet at a time, man, because, again, I don't reload all that often. I might reload 3 times, 4 times a year if I'm lucky. So, again, I want to make sure I'm doing the whole process, start to finish, not with some press. You get lazy or, you know, rotary press or what is it, progressive. Pistol's different. But for rifles, do the process from go to woe. Screw your die in, start your process.
Yeah, exactly. And, and write everything down. Like what I do, I use ADI powder. So I get that ADI powder book that they come out every year. I'm still using the one from several years ago. The caliber, I write it down with the weight and the caliber. Right next to it, I write what I'm actually using. So, okay, I'm reloading my 308 target rounds. I flick through, there's a 308 section. There's my target rounds projectile. It's actually written down next to the load data in the book. And then I've got a different load for the 308 rounds, and I just use that. And that's a separate part on the 308 page. I find that's the easiest way of doing it.
Yeah, and then write it down. Then once you got it, you're good to go. And like I said, once you start burning that throat out of that gun over, say, you know, 300-500 rounds, that's starting to, you know, wear a little bit. You need to. That's why I said watch those YouTube videos, because he shows you how to combat that. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to the lands. And even though you said it's stupid, but some of this stuff is very interesting. You need to watch it because it makes a lot of sense. And why you shouldn't chase it, because, you know, if you move too much. You know, like let's say your throat burns out, I don't know, 10 thou, let's just say, and you move from that, you move 10 thou, you know, further out, like you seat the bullet out further, you know, that all of a sudden they go, oh shit, this is not shooting anymore. Why is this load should be shooting? Why is it not shooting? I've measured the lands, it should be shooting. But it's not always as simple as that, you know, and sometimes you've moved way too far. And that turns a good round into a non-shooting round, and then you start chasing your tail. You're wasting money at the range. Check out those videos is all I can say. Yeah,
exactly. And also a lot of your depth, like a lot of people, unless you want a single load every round, you're pretty much gonna. I check, especially my hunting rifles. I just go off the size of a factory round, pretty much, because I know every time it's going to load up. Unless you want a single load, like your target rifles or long range rifles, that's different. But yeah, when it comes to hunting, I pick a common length from a factory round, and I stick to that. I know every single time it's going to go in and eject nicely.
yeah. And if your gun's not shooting, all right, and when it has before, again, check rings, check bases. Make sure that's all done, and clean your gun too. Sounds like, I mean, I've shot rabbits where I'm just knuckling them hard. Next day, the thing's what's going on? What's happening? But I haven't cleaned my gun. I've got, you know, you might have too much, you know, copper buildup in there. You need a really good clean. And before you go to the range, I generally put 2 to 3 rounds down range just to foul up that barrel to get it where I need it to be. Again, I don't think you should do reloads on a freshly, you know, cleaned barrel. I just put a couple of, that's why if I load up, say 5 of a certain, I'll have a basic low charge. I'll have like 10 of them just sitting there. So if I end up cleaning, I can put 2 or 3 shots through the gun, just do it, foul it up a little bit again, put it on the shelf, and then 10 minutes later come back when it's cooled down, and then start that process of actually looking at what my loads are. Don't do it on a clean barrel, I don't think.
Yeah. Yep. I normally, when I do load development, I'll make the loads I'm going to develop. Then I'll just make a few extra just to start the day off. That's something I'm hoping that I think in my mind that it's going to work. And then I'll just make like 10 of those extra, and I'll start the day off just by shooting those. But a lot
Yeah.
of people, this could be a totally different video as well. A lot of people, when they load develop, will shoot one or 2 rounds, then clean their barrel every single time. And I don't think that's the right way to go, because when you do contests, you're shooting like 20 rounds at a time, or 13 or 15 rounds, then another 10 rounds after that. You don't clean your barrels through that when you're doing contests.
Yeah, and Salty says I've a thing about cleaning barrels. Yeah, the Ensaldi's right. If the gun's shooting, don't worry about cleaning it. It's only when it starts, playing up. Something's weird here. What's going on? It's not grouping. That's when you need to clean it. Maybe get the copper stuff in it. Get rid of the copper, and then again, you put a couple of rounds down. That's the thing. You need to put a couple of rounds down range just to foul up the barrel. With the prices these days, it's $3 or $4 just to foul a bloody barrel. It's getting crazy right now. So.
Yeah, just buy some real cheap ammo just to foul up the barrel, then start using your good stuff. Yeah, because Andy here says, how often do you clean your guns? Well, every time I go out, if I come back from a hunt, that's different. When you come in for a hunt, they're covered in red dust and crap. I give it a full gurney and scrub, basically, and an acid wash, pretty much. But if I'm just going up to the farm down the road here, a few plinking, and I've only let off a handful of rounds, and I might, 20, 30 rounds, I won't clean for 2 to 3 to 4 outings if I'm only shooting 20, 30 rounds through the gun.
Yeah, Neil brings up a good one. I was this too because I was in the army. He goes, the army told me to clean my gun. Had to clean my gun at all times. Well, yeah, that's if you're on a battlefield, you've got to make sure it's going to fire. It's a semi-auto, the F88 Ozstire. So completely different probably than what we're talking about here because your life depends on it if that gun doesn't shoot. So, totally different. But, Anyway, it's been good. Probably do more on this topic at a later date, I reckon. Do something else again, I reckon.
We probably will. So I hope is this the sort of stuff you want to see as well. I know you all like the doom and gloom and gun bans and everything, but we want to talk about gun stuff as well. There's a gun channel. Do you like this sort of stuff? We'll try and bring our view and our point of view across of this sort of stuff. We'll talk about guns, all sorts of gun topics. If you just message me on Instagram, I'll look at your stuff. Or of course, tonight's one was brought by one of my Patreons. So definitely go sign up to my Patreon. So Shooting Stuff Australia, links are down below. And I'm going to start doing a few recommendations from a lot more of the Patreons are down there because they keep the show going. That's for sure. And one thing, Workspaces. This is something we haven't even really locked onto. If you want to see, I've just built a new. I'll put it up here. A new. It's in the description right now. Just put it up. Of a new workbench. You've got to have a good workbench. If you're using presses, you've got to have it solidly bolted down. So I've just built another one in the workshop. So you'll be able to see it's in the description, and it's in the description down below in the comments and that of my new workbench that I've built, and that's going to be my new reloading belt. You've got to make sure it's stable. You don't want a flimsy table that's wobbling around as well.
Yeah, it's fairly stiff if you can. So some decent bit of wood. Man, I used to have mine clamped to an old little workbench. But anyway, Matt Cato said maybe scopes. We'll talk about some scopes next time. And I think we've done that before. But yeah, it's something we can hit on again for new people anyway. But yeah, good show, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. So I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Go check out everything I've written down in the description of this video. Enjoy your week, and I hope you get out this weekend shooting. Thank you very much, Southern Star. Love the bench, Aaron. Thank you very much. The link is in the description about the bench. Go see the NSC about everything they do. If you're going to change Genuine Reason, definitely change the NSC. They're the best ones out there. And thank you, Jason, for joining us. I hope this has been informative. We could talk yet again in another whole video that we probably will do. If the numbers show that this is the sort of video that you want to do, we'll do more of these. So guys, stay safe, and we shall see you in 7 days' time. Good night.